guys, welcome to the video. It's Death's How-To. It's a new series I'm going to try out here. I'm going to start my first video with a little guide for FPS players and what to do if they often hear that you need to get good. Some people can be pretty toxic in the FPS community, but you'll hear that often from some players. But just wanted to give a breakdown on what you can do to help boost your skills when it comes to aiming, keeping your aim on the target, and generally just getting better at first-person shooters. It's going to go over like sensitivity, maybe getting a little bit of play styles a bit, but for the most part, it's just about how you play and your controller settings, and we'll go from there. So first things first, we're going to go to the basics and tune our controller settings. So to do that, we'll go into the options menu and select controls. So we're just going to focus on a couple options here, mostly just the soldier aim sensitivity and soldier zoom aim sensitivity. So aim sensitivity is just how fast your reticule moves around the map, just general aiming. And zoom aim sensitivity is when you're aiming down the sights and how fast you aim. How you set those up is up to you. I generally prefer to like the higher side of zoom sensitivity because I don't like having my aim slow down when I'm aiming down the sights, so that's why mine's set so high. Some people don't. Some people find it's difficult to stay on target that way. Maybe set it lower for yourselves and get used to it as you go. The rest of them are more so options like steady scope, soldier weapon zoom, all hold, don't have those toggle. Requesting skip revive as toggle is key though. Rest of them can stay the same. Now this is a very important change to make. Change your controller settings to alternate so that your right stick on your right analog is now your crouch or your prone or your slide button. This is an essential change so that you're not pulling your thumb off of your right stick and you're tapping your buttons. I'll show you what this looks like in action. So watching it again in slow-mo if you missed anything, without moving my thumb off my stick, I enter my slide and I keep my aim on the enemy soldier almost the entire time. Maintaining that aim is essential, and making that change in your controller settings will allow this. If I had to pull my thumb off of the controller to make the slide, I would never be able to keep my aim on that soldier, and more than likely he'll end up killing me first. So this is an essential change, and this is it in action. Soldier uniform aiming and soldier aim acceleration is typically a Battlefield 5 setting. You won't need this on. I hate having it on. Turn it all off. Without really explaining it, it's useless, and it's just going to counter anything you're trying to do. For soldier aim ratio, I set this at 80% for both because it affects your horizontal and vertical aim. You don't aim as often vertically. It's more horizontal, so if you set a full 100, your aim gets a little bit wilder. This just makes it more linear and easier to control. Now this next section covers dead zones. Typically the smaller the dead zone, the less input is needed to start making an input. So I like to have the dead zones at a smaller ratio. If you have bad controllers and they tend to lean to one side, or strafe a little bit, maybe set it a little bit higher. It might get around that controller issue, but generally the smaller the movements, the better. And the same thing goes for your triggers. You don't want to have to pull your triggers as much. Set them to a 0% dead zone, and trust me, it makes all the difference. Those tap firing guns now, oof, you're going to be tap firing for days. Make that adjustment and you will notice it right away. Make the threshold smaller as well. That way you're not needing to push as nearly as much on the controller to make those shots. Your shot will fire almost instantaneously with those changes. Now these next settings will affect what you see on screen, like your brightness and field of view. I generally set brightness to 60 or above half, and my field of view in almost every FPS is 90. I like it. Some people like 75. It's a little bit closer. This gives you a wider angle of what's around you, and the gun doesn't take up nearly as much space in front of you. But it does give you a little bit of a fishbowl effect to get used to. Not much, though. And unfortunately, due to technical limitations, that is the entirety of part one. I like that it's going to be a smaller, focused videos, but in my next video, I'm going to get into training exercises that you can use to help better practice those changes that you've just made on your controller. Unfortunately, this editing software doesn't allow me to add many comments, so I have to cut this one short. But I do appreciate you coming to listen, and I hope that you do catch my next video. It's going to take a little bit longer than I thought with the editing, but I have a good idea as to what I'm going to do next. So again, like I showed in those other last clips there, this next video is just going to be about training exercises and going further in depth with basically how to get good. Thanks for tuning in, and catch you in the next video.